The conference room smells like burnt coffee and desperation. Dennis stands at the head of the mahogany table with my work glowing bright on the screen behind him. Every single pixel. My analysis, my research, my conclusions, my methodology, my vision. But my name isn't anywhere on it. Not in the title. Not in the credits. Not even in the fine print at the bottom. He smiles, that careful practiced smile he saves for board meetings and client presentations, and says my name like it's a problem to be solved. Like I'm a problem. We've had some reliability concerns lately, he says smoothly. His eyes already drifting away from me toward the executives sitting around the table. Some inconsistencies in the recent analysis work. Some gaps in methodology. We're going to need someone more seasoned moving forward. Someone with more experience. The words hang in the air like poison gas spreading through a closed room. I feel heat crawl up my neck. Not from shame. I've done nothing wrong. From the absolute bone-deep certainty that this was planned. This whole thing. Timing. The public setting. The way he's saying it. All of it was orchestrated. I don't speak. Can't. I watch how people shift uncomfortably in their chairs. How no one asks for examples of these supposed inconsistencies. How Jennifer from accounting suddenly becomes very interested in something on her laptop screen. How Tom from finance won't make eye contact with me. The word unreliable weighs heavier than any accusation ever could. Sounds permanent. Sounds like a verdict. It sounds like my career just got publicly revised without my consent or my knowledge. I realize this isn't about performance. It's never been about performance. It's about ownership. Who gets credit? Who gets visibility? Who gets promoted? And Dennis just decided that he wants all of it. My 5 years of consistent work. My promotion prospects. My professional identity. All of it. Rewritten in a single sentence. I nod slowly and say nothing. Silence feels safer than words right now. Back at my desk, I try to access the main project folder. My fingers know the password by heart. I've typed it 1,000 times. I can do it in my sleep. But today the system rejects me. Access denied. The message appears in clean, cold letters. Helvetica font. Neutral gray. No explanation. No warning email. No phone call. Just a wall. Just rejection. My heart starts racing. I tell myself to stay calm. I tell myself this is probably a glitch. Technical issues happen all the time. Servers crash. Permissions get mixed up. It's probably nothing. But it doesn't feel like nothing. I check my email inbox and find forwarded threads. Conversations I remember sending weeks ago with my analysis attached. My complete methodology. My conclusions. All of it still there, preserved in digital amber, but under a different name now. Dennis didn't rewrite anything. He didn't improve it or build upon it or add value to it. He didn't do any of that. He just replaced my name with his own. The calmness of it unsettles me more than anger ever could. Anger is hot and loud and obvious. This is precise. This is surgical. This is the work of someone who's done this before. Someone who's perfected this process. I message IT politely. No accusations. I don't want to sound paranoid or defensive. I just ask a simple question. Why is my access restricted to the main folder? While waiting for a response, I pull up old files saved on my local computer drive. Files I backed up just because I'm paranoid about losing work. I compare versions carefully. Check dates. I look at metadata. The metadata doesn't lie like people do. Can't. Just data. Every single alteration happened after I left the office. Every change was made between midnight and 6 a.m. Every modification was made by someone with admin privileges. Someone who knew exactly what they were doing. Someone assumed I wouldn't look this closely. Someone assumed that my silence would mean ignorance. My fingers hover over the keyboard for a long moment. Then my email buzzes. T has responded. Faster than expected. Much faster than expected. There's an attachment. The attachment is a permissions log. Dry. Objective. Emotionless. Dates and times stacked like dominoes. Complete record of every change, every access, every single moment that someone touched my work. Every deletion, every addition, every modification. I scroll through it slowly, my eyes narrowing, my stomach tightening. Every single change happened after hours. Always between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. Always the day before reviews or presentations. Always before meetings where my work was going to be discussed. And always, ending with the same credentials. Dennis Thompson, admin access. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't a miscommunication or a technical glitch. This wasn't an accident. This was a system, routine, habit, something he'd been doing consistently for months. I scroll further back through the logs, going back weeks, then months. I find the first occurrence. 6 months ago, right after I declined his offer to summarize my work verbally in a meeting. I told him I preferred to present it myself. I wanted credit for my own work. I remember his smile that day. Patient, condescending, like he was dealing with a difficult child. Within 2 days of that meeting, my access was mysteriously limited. Within a week, my name started disappearing from files. Within a month, it became standard practice. I sit very still, listening to the office hum around me. Keyboards clicking, phones ringing, people laughing by the water cooler, the distant sound of someone on a conference call. None of them know what's happening. None of them can see the pattern that's been forming right in front of us. Nobody realizes what Dennis has been doing. I don't feel angry yet. Anger is still coming. I can feel it building in my chest like pressure. Right now, in this moment, I feel something else entirely. Feel oriented. Like I finally understand the shape of the trap I'm in. Like I finally see the game that's been playing out around me for 6 months. I scroll down further through the logs, looking for something. A log entry marked as incomplete. Something is wrong with this entry. Something was interrupted. The incomplete entry bothers me more than all the others combined. More than the theft. More than the manipulation. More than the public humiliation. Incomplete means something went wrong. Something interrupted the process. Logout. System crash. Or worse, a witness. Something stopped him from finishing what he started. I cross-reference the building access logs with the security system database. I find his badge scanned at 11:47 p.m. that specific night. Too late. The office was nearly empty. Just the cleaning crew moving through the hallways. Just the security guards doing their rounds. Remember, I stayed late that night. I was working in the corner cubicle on the 3rd floor, the one nobody really uses, finishing a report under a tight deadline. I had headphones on, completely focused on the work, completely unaware of what was happening around me. I remember Dennis came in around midnight. I saw him walk past my cubicle. I remember how he smiled and nodded at me like nothing was strange about him being there at midnight. I remember how he praised that report the very next morning. Called it excellent work. Thanked me for my dedication. Praise can be a placeholder for theft. My stomach tightens as the realization settles in like a stone. He came back to steal it. But I was there. I saw him. I didn't understand what I was seeing in that moment, but I saw it. And that's why the entry is incomplete. That's why he didn't finish erasing me from that file. That's why the deletion process got interrupted. 'Cause I was there. I save copies of everything on an external drive. I name the files carefully. Neutrally. No emotion in the labels. Just dates. Just facts. Just organized, rational documentation. I understand now something fundamental. If I react emotionally, if I confront him, if I get angry and loud, I lose. I lose control of the narrative. I lose credibility. But if I wait, if I watch, if I learn and document everything systematically, I will understand exactly what I'm dealing with. Calendar invite appears on my screen. Strategy sync. Tomorrow at 2 p.m. I'm not on the invite list. But I know what that means now. I'm not invited to the strategy sync meeting, but I attend anyway. I walk into the conference room 5 minutes late like I belong there but got delayed somewhere else. Like I'm just passing through. Nobody questions it. Dennis doesn't even glance at me. Why would he? In his mind, I'm already gone. Already forgotten. Already erased from importance. I sit quietly at the edge of the conference room, near the back wall, near the door. I pull out a notebook and pretend to take notes. I make myself small and unobtrusive. He presents confidently. Uses my language. Copies my cadence perfectly. The slides flow exactly the way I designed them. The conclusions land exactly where I intended them to land. The emotional arc of the presentation is exactly how I structured it. But then he says something wrong. The conversion rate improved by 23% in Q3, he says, tapping the slide with authority, moving to the next point without hesitation. Wrong. I know it's wrong. The conversion rate was 18%. I remember because I rechecked that number 4 times before submitting the report. I called the analytics department. I triple verified it. 18%. Not 23. Correct nothing. I say nothing. I don't raise my hand or interrupt him or embarrass him in front of these executives. I watch who notices. One person glances at me, then back at the screen. There's a question in her eyes. She knows something is off. She remembers the original numbers. She knows something doesn't add up. But she doesn't speak either. She stays silent. Silence wins. The mistake stays in the record, hanging there like a seed planted in soil. That matters more than you'd think. Afterward, Dennis thanks everyone and calls the meeting to a close. He avoids my eyes deliberately. He knows I was there. He knows I heard him lie. But he's not careful because he's confident. He's confident because he's gotten away with this for months. He's confident because nobody has stopped him yet. Confidence is a vulnerability. I file that away in my mind. At 11:42 p.m. that night, my phone buzzes. System alert. An automated notification. The kind that people usually ignore or delete without reading. But this one catches my attention immediately. Discrepancy detected in Q3 analysis report. Flagged metric, 23% versus 18% conversion rate. Automated review initiated. The system caught his lie. Not a person. Not someone who could be charmed or manipulated. Not someone who could be convinced to stay quiet or who could be bullied into silence. Machine. Pure logic. Mathematics. Unbiased truth. Forward nothing. I don't call it out. I don't send emails about it or mention it to anyone. I don't create conflict. I simply archive the alert and save a copy to my external drive. I let the system speak. That night I sleep better than I have in weeks. Better than I've slept since this nightmare began. By morning the alert has escalated automatically. Compliance emails don't accuse. They never do. They're carefully worded. They ask questions. Neutral questions with razor-sharp edges underneath. They want to know about the discrepancy. They want to know who identified the error. They want to know about the metric. They want to know who prepared the original analysis. They want documentation. They want truth. Dennis pings me first thing. Usual. Friendly. Like nothing happened. Like we're just colleagues having a normal conversation. Did you see that alert? He asks. Say yes. I say nothing else. My calm unsettles him. I can feel it through the text even though I can't see his face. He expected defensiveness. Maybe tears. Maybe an apology from me. Taking blame for his mistake to make things easier. I give him professionalism instead. Cold, factual, unmoved professionalism. Meanwhile, compliance requests original files. All of them. Every version. Every timestamp. Everything. I submit mine. Clean. Timestamp. Untouched. Honest. Everything exactly as it was created. I wait to see what Dennis submits. Compliance asks why my name isn't on the presentation. Dennis has an answer ready. He's had time to think about it. He's prepared this speech. He always has an answer ready. He explains that it's a collaboration. Mentorship. He says I struggle with visibility. He frames the whole thing as him helping me by taking charge of the presentation. Like he's doing me a favor. Like he's protecting me. I listen from my desk. hearing my identity rewritten once again. But this time, I'm not silent just out of fear or shock or confusion. This time, I'm silent because I know exactly what's coming next. Compliance doesn't care about narratives. They don't care about explanations or good intentions or teamwork philosophy. They request change histories. Not stories. Histories. Objective records of who changed what and when and from what to what. The metadata. Evidence. The truth. I feel a quiet click inside me. Like a lock aligning into place. Like machinery coming into focus. Like something fundamental shifting. The system isn't just watching anymore. The system is working. The system is speaking. The system is gathering evidence and building a case that cannot be denied. The interview room is small and cold and sterile. A woman from compliance sits across from me with a notebook and a pen. She has kind eyes, but they're professional eyes. Not unfriendly, but not warm either. She's neutral. Objective. Professional. This is her job. Answer slowly. I don't speculate. I don't embellish or add emotional color to anything. I just describe what happened. Access restrictions. Forwarded emails with altered signatures. File modifications. Timeline. Patterns. Everything documented. Everything factual. I show her the logs without commentary. I let the data speak for itself. I let the numbers tell the story. She nods, not reacting but saving everything. Recording. Documenting. Taking notes. When she asks how this affected me, I pause. I choose my words very carefully. I don't want to sound like a victim. I don't want to sound emotional or unstable. It altered my professional record, I say calmly. It affected how my work was perceived by leadership. And it limited my opportunities moving forward. True. Enough. Not emotional. Not angry. Just factual. Just honest. She nods again and makes another note. Before I leave, she tells me something that makes my heart race. Dennis's interview is scheduled for next week. Last. That matters too. That means they're saving him for last. That means they want to gather as much information as possible before they talk to him. Waiting is harder than acting. Waiting is harder than confronting him or fighting back or demanding explanations. Waiting requires discipline and patience and faith that the system will work. Dennis grows restless. I see it in how he moves around the office. How he fidgets with his pen. How he offers coffee to people, jokes, half apologies. How he tries to normalize things between us like nothing happened. Like we're still colleagues. Like we're still friends. I remain still. Unmoved. Professional. Every glance he steals at his phone. Every twitch of his smile. Every nervous laugh tells me he knows something is shifting. The ground beneath him is becoming unstable. And he can feel it even if he doesn't want to admit it. He doesn't understand that I'm not his audience anymore. I'm not the person he needs to convince or manipulate or explain things to. I'm the witness. I imagine the system silently cataloging his every move, every altered record, every lie, every overconfident step he thought was unnoticed or forgotten. His ease begins to crack at the edges like old paint. One morning I notice something new in the email thread with compliance. A new recipient has been added to the thread. Senior leadership. The people who make decisions about promotions and terminations. The circle is tightening. The walls are closing in. Committees don't care about charm or persuasion or personal relationships. They care about facts, risk, liability, patterns that could indicate a larger problem in the organization. Problems that could expose the company to legal action or reputation damage. My work becomes evidence. His alterations become liabilities. Patterns that once hid in plain sight now emerge clearly under scrutiny. The committee compiles timelines and logs, leaving no room for misinterpretation. No room for alternative explanations or creative storytelling. The data is too clean, too consistent, too damning. The truth cannot be escaped. I'm called back for a second interview. This time there are 3 people in the room instead of 1. The incomplete log entry finally gets explained. Someone requests the original file from that night. The one that remained incomplete because I was there and Dennis couldn't finish deleting it. They find it. A complete copy of my original analysis. Timestamp. Altered. Proof that I created it and that Dennis accessed it after hours. The security logs confirm everything. A guard's report notes Dennis was alone in the office. The building access logs show I left at 11:30 p.m. He arrived at 11:47 p.m. The narrative tightens completely. His carefully constructed facade starts cracking. The evidence is overwhelming. He requests a private meeting with me. Except, he closes the door gently, carefully, like he's handling something fragile. He's chosen his words carefully, rehearsed them probably multiple times. He offers restoration, partial credit, an off-the-record apology, a chance to make things right quietly, without this going any further, without compliance knowing the full story, without his career being completely destroyed. We can fix this, he says, and I can hear desperation in his voice now. Just you and me. No one needs to know it went this far. Listen. I let him talk. I let him explain why he did it. Pressure from executives. Bad judgment. A moment of weakness he regrets. A mistake he wants to undo. I remain silent. I don't interrupt. I don't offer comfort. When he finishes, I speak clearly. My voice is steady and certain. I prefer accuracy, I say. In the record. In the files. In how my work is credited. Professional. Unyielding. Nothing more. Nothing less. He realizes in that moment that I won't protect him. I won't rewrite history for him. I won't make this disappear or go away. I won't let this stay buried. I will let the truth stand. And the truth will destroy him. His tone shifts completely. The apology vanishes like smoke. In its place comes something harder. Edges sharpen. Threats emerge. Hints at consequences. Implications about what could happen to my career if I don't cooperate. Suggestions about what people will think of me if I'm seen as someone who destroyed a colleague. You know how this looks, he says quietly, and there's anger in his voice now. Like you're trying to take me down. People don't forget that kind of betrayal. I respond with silence and neutrality. Threats only matter when they're possible. When the person making them has power. When there's something to lose. His threats aren't possible anymore. He has no power. He has nothing left. The system remains impartial. Observing. Collecting evidence. Unyielding. Unmovable. I stand up. I think we're done here, I say. I leave. The next morning mid-presentation. Dennis's system access revokes while he's standing in front of a conference room full of people. His screen goes blank mid-sentence. The projector cuts off. His slides disappear. Everyone sees it happen. The silence in the room is deafening. Colleagues notice. Eyes dart around the room. Whispers start. Authority acts silently but decisively. He stands there for a moment, frozen, trying to recover. He stammers something about technical difficulties. He tries to laugh it off, but everyone can see the panic in his eyes. He walks to the back of the room and pulls out his phone, checking his email with trembling hands. I watch from my desk nearby. I can see his face go pale as he realizes what's happened, as he understands that he can no longer access any of the company systems. As it hits him that this is real. This is happening. Security walks over and quietly asks him to come with them. They escort him to a private office. His laptop gets collected. His access badges are deactivated. By noon, the entire office knows something major has happened. He cannot charm his way out of this anymore. He cannot manipulate the system. He cannot erase evidence or rewrite history. The tables have shifted completely. He's no longer in control. He's no longer even a player in this game. He's become the piece being moved around the board. Leadership calls an all-hands meeting for the entire department. Everyone files into the large conference room. There's nervous energy in the air. People can feel that something significant is about to be announced. something that will change things. The announcement is clinical, factual, emotionless. An internal review has been conducted following an anonymous complaint. Irregularities have been identified in project management and file access protocols. A temporary reassignment has been approved pending the outcome of the investigation. No names are mentioned, but everyone knows who they're talking about. Everyone knows. Dennis sits in the back row. His face completely drained of color. He avoids eye contact with absolutely everyone. He doesn't speak. He doesn't interrupt. He just sits there like a ghost. The words hang in the air. Factual, neutral, unstoppable. People react subtly. Some relieved. Some surprised. Some angry that this was happening all along and nobody knew or said anything about it. I sit quietly in my chair, observing, noting everything. Recording it all in my memory. Watching how people process this information. Watching how the dynamic in the room shifts. The woman from compliance catches my eye briefly from across the room and nods slowly. That nod means everything. Means they have what they need. Means justice is coming. It means the truth has finally won. My name appears on the project presentation. Seeing it there feels strange. Not triumphant in the way I imagined it would be. Not satisfying in a dramatic way. Just feels right. Like balance has been restored. Like the world has shifted back into alignment. The presentation slides are updated. My analysis is properly attributed. Every conclusion is traced back to me. Every data point is credited to my work. Every insight is marked with my name and timestamp. Accuracy matters more than applause. Data is credited properly now. Timelines are corrected. The system reflects truth. Everything is honest again. I sit at my desk and review the updated files. I see my name in the places where it should have been all along. I see the correct metrics displayed. 18%, not 23%. The real numbers. The honest numbers. My heart feels lighter than it has in months. Dennis watches silently from his temporary desk across the office. A desk that's been moved to a corner away from everyone else. Powerless. Watching his work life unravel through a series of impersonal corporate decisions. He can't control or manipulate. Other employees start acknowledging my work. They congratulate me. They ask me questions about the analysis. They treat me like I actually did the work, which I did. Breathe evenly. The tension eases slightly. For the first time in months I feel like myself again. A formal report is circulated company-wide. It's printed on official letterhead. It has signatures from the compliance department, HR and senior leadership. It's official. It's final. It's irrefutable. It lists facts, dates, edits, access logs. No emotion. No exaggeration. Just truth. Pages and pages of evidence. Screenshots of file modifications. Timestamps of unauthorized access. Permission logs showing who changed what and when. The narrative is immutable now. Any prior manipulations are completely clear to anyone with eyes to read and a brain to understand. The report details the pattern over 6 months. Every alteration. Every deletion. Every theft of credit. It's all there. Documented. Undeniable. His credibility unravels quietly. Completely. Irrevocably. People stop making eye contact with him. People stop inviting him to lunch. People stop including him in casual conversations by the water cooler. The office culture shifts around him like a school of fish moving away from a predator. People literally move to the other side of the hallway when they see him coming. His email inbox fills with meeting cancellations. His projects are reassigned. His name is removed from committees and task forces. By the end of the week, he's been completely isolated. Professionally erased. The resignation email arrives on a Tuesday afternoon. I see it hit the company email system. The subject line reads, "Resignation notice. Effective immediately." Brief. Vague. Impersonal. He doesn't apologize. He doesn't explain. He doesn't justify anything. He doesn't mention the investigation or the report or any of it. He just says he's moving on to pursue other opportunities elsewhere. That his time here has been valuable. That he appreciates the experience. All the standard corporate language that masks shame and desperation. Effective immediately. That afternoon. No 2 weeks notice. No transition plan. Nothing. I read it once. That's all I need. My desk is tidy. My files are intact. My identity is restored. My professional record is corrected. My name is visible everywhere it should be. My work is credited properly. Others whisper about what happened. They speculate about where he'll go next. They wonder if he'll get another job or if his reputation is ruined forever. But I remain composed, focused on the facts. Not the drama. Not the gossip. Not the schadenfreude. He's gone. The office already feels different without him. Lighter. Cleaner. More honest. Like someone opened a window and let fresh air in. Can breathe now. They ask me to present at the next big meeting. I stand before the same group of people who watched Dennis steal my work. The same conference table. The same screen. But everything feels different now. I present calmly. Clear data. Structured outcomes. Logical progression. No mention of what happened before. No reference to the drama or the investigation or any of it. Just facts. Timelines. Results that align perfectly with reality. Colleagues watch with new respect. Leadership listens intently. Everything makes sense now. Everything is in its proper place. My name stands where it belongs. Professionalism replaces conflict. When I finish, applause comes unexpectedly from the back of the room. Genuine. Warm. Earned. The office culture subtly changes after that. Credit becomes visible. Contributions are documented carefully. People are more conscious about file access permissions. New protocols get implemented. Every file alteration gets logged. Every change gets tracked. The system hums in the background, impartial, reliable, watching everything. My presence reinforces order. Professional standards. Earned respect. People treat me differently now. With recognition. With acknowledgement of what I accomplished. With respect for my competence and integrity. Colleagues start coming to me for advice about processes. They want to learn how to protect themselves and their work. I teach them about documentation. About backing up files. About keeping records. About the power of evidence and patience. A new system of checks and balances gets implemented across the department. Better systems. Fairer systems. Systems designed to prevent theft and manipulation. The office becomes a better place to work. Leadership approaches me with an offer. Not just a title. Influence over processes. A role in shaping how our department manages projects, access permissions, and attribution going forward. I negotiate terms carefully. Terms that ensure protection for myself and others. Terms that ensure integrity for the system itself. Decisions are measured, deliberate, strategic. Silence is still my weapon, but now it's a weapon wrapped in authority and responsibility. I accept the offer. Weeks pass. Dennis's name fades from conversations. Mind stabilizes in its proper place. Reports reflect reality accurately. Colleagues adjust to the new dynamic. Trust is rebuilding. The office hums predictably. I observe quietly, knowing exactly what happened, yet sharing none of the details. The story stays between me and the system. That's how it should be. A new hire asks about that review, about what happened with Dennis, about why there's such an emphasis on documentation and attribution. I answer neutrally, providing context without judgment or drama. Facts, not stories. Truth, not exaggeration. The narrative is complete, unassailable, and clean. Everything falls back into balance. I log the day in my mind. Unspoken satisfaction fills me. Weeks later, I walk past the conference room. Someone else presents confidently. New faces, new projects, new opportunities, new energy, different people working on new initiatives. The systems I helped design are humming in the background now, invisible to most people but always working. Always watching. Always remembering everything. Cataloging every change. Every access. Every decision. I have a different kind of power now. Not the loud, obvious kind that Dennis tried to have. Not the kind that comes from manipulation or theft or taking credit for other people's work. Real power. Earned power. Respect. The kind of power that comes from being honest and competent and trustworthy. The kind of power that comes from standing by your principles even when it would be easier not to. The kind of power that comes from letting the truth speak for itself. Justice wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't violent or cruel or messy or public. It was factual, patient, inevitable. The silence carried the victory. The documentation carried the evidence. The system carried the truth. And in the end, truth won. Not because I screamed about it. Not because I fought loudly or fought publicly. But because I was patient. Because I documented everything. Because I let the evidence speak for itself. And that's the most powerful victory of all. That's enough. That's everything.